The next one is Radiant Flames. It is a sorcery for 2R. Radiant Flames deals X damage to each creature, where X is the number of colors of mana spent to cast Radiant Flames. You guys did a pretty good job talking about this, I think, where when I originally saw this, I thought, oh, look, a harder to cast Anger of the Gods. This isn't any good. But the fact that you can play it in a Jeskai deck and not kill your Mantis Rider is pretty important.
I think when we talked about it, that was what we hammered on. But I think now, having gotten to play with the mana bases too, like I said, this deck that I'm working on that was started out as like Abs and Aggro with another color and became 5-color. Then like Morgan, you were the one who was like, well, why aren't you just playing Radiant Flames on the board? And I was like, oh, right, you can just do that.
Yeah.
So this card,
super easy.
These Converge cards that only have one actual like specific color of casting are going to be so like. If you are looking at an opponent's deck and you're wondering like, why do they have all these colors of mana? Recognize they can play any of these things, and it can be very bad for you if you don't learn to play around it.
Yep.
Good card's good. I like it.
So our next card is an old favorite.
Yeah.
Back from the dead.
Many people are very excited because this is the first foiling of this card.
Yeah, and I think it's got a sweet art for a foil card. This is Rolling Thunder. Hear my cry. This is X red for a sorcery. Rolling Thunder deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and/or players. This effect has been a cube powerhouse for a long time. Honestly, though, like it's not a bad it's good value for the cost. Like Fireball, you had the ability to target like other cards, and you had to pay mana to do it. This one, very clean. And this format is going to ramp really heavily. I feel like this card is playable.
Yeah, I do too. It depends. It depends on if you're using it to kill creatures or kill players. Like Kratos Calls is better just killing the player
That's very
outright. True. It's nice that this is uncommon instead of when it was originally printed as a common. So
for the limited format.
For the limited format.
I think this effect is again it's really powerful. I don't know. I'm not really comparing the two cards, so be careful. But I don't know if you played with like Bonfire, if you ever get the chance to wipe your opponent's board while keeping your board nice and pristine, it is an easy way to win the game, and it feels very, very good. And Rolling Thunder is the kind of card where like it can clear out blockers before an attack, or you can make like an exotic sort of attack, and then like they are trying to figure out what to play around, and then if you have Rolling Thunder, it just goes on cleanup duty, and it's like, all right, one here, and like you just wipe the board with it. So it's got a lot of powerful uses.
Yeah, if Standard comes down to Siege Rhinos and the new Converge 2/2 guy, then this card's probably not very good.
That's
this costs a lot of mana to kill anything. But if the decks all end up being landfall creatures and X1s, then
and people trying to make like scions for value and stuff.
Yeah,
like this thing that machine guns a lot of scions. That's for sure. Like, and they make a little popping sound. At least that's what I assume. It's like, all right.
All right. Next we have Zada.
Zada, I think.
Zada Hedron Grinder. It's a legendary goblin ally for 3 and R. It's a 3/3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only Zada, copy that spell for each other creature you control that the spell could target. Each copy targets a different one of those creatures. I've seen an interesting deck with this with Become Immense. What else is in here? So Become Immense, Might of the Masses, and then it just plays a lot of things like Horling Outburst and Dragon Fodder. I don't know if that's good enough, but it's certainly an interesting card. It's a unique effect that the last time we had it on a creature, I think it was a 4-color creature. Well, the Nephilim from
you had the Golems from
Precursor Golem.
But that one also, your opponents also got that thing, so Lightning Bolt could kill all of them. And it was also legal, so awkward how that works. No, I think this card, I don't know. This card, like 4 mana 3/3 is like not exciting in any way, but there are some crazy things to do with the card. So it makes me really sad that the art isn't him. Like with when I thought Hedron Grinder, I thought like the little guy with the music box and like a monkey. It's like, you listen to my Hedron, but that's not what he's doing. So.
I think not the intent they're going for.
This is one of those cards that does really powerful things and never sees play.
It's true,
but fun to talk about.
But you'll sit across from an FNM one night and have your mind blown by the person who's just like destroying you, and you'll have a big smile on your face as it happens.
Yes, exactly. You go tell all your friends, guess how I lost.
All right. Let's move on. So what do you think of red? Red did not get a lot of colors or a lot of cards, but I think the cards here are probably overall a little bit better. I think Radiant Flames is going to be super important to the format, so that alone sort of puts it up there, maybe above blue.
I think red's more defined by what it doesn't have. We don't have a Lightning Strike or a Stoke the Flames replacement, so a lot of people are saying the mono red decks are dead, which I don't know is true.
The burn style decks are dead for a while.
The burn style decks are probably dead.
Yeah,
But we still have plenty of 1 red drops, and you put the Slide Runner in there, you might still be able to attack it. Atarka's Command still does a lot of damage.
That it does, and you have a lot of token makers still in the format too.
Yeah, so I would not count a mono red deck out.
So what is that? What is the line? The mono red is dead. Oh, long live mono red. So let's look at green then. Green gets a little bit better showing. So I guess we'll start here with Beast Caller Savant. And I'll be very honest, I'm actually pretty high on this card. I like it. It makes you sad, though, when you look at this card. And so Beast Caller Savant is a creature elf shaman ally for a colorless and a green. It is a 1/1 creature with haste. And it says tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, but only spend this mana on a creature spell.
So why does this make you sad when you
Because he's got a Lotus Cobra on him.
Okay, I was just making sure we were both sad for the same reason.
Hey, do you remember this card?
Like, Lotus Cobra's still there? Why don't we get Lotus Cobra? I don't think you understand. But Lotus Cobra is also probably obscene for what they're trying to do with the current standard. This card's really interesting, though. Like, I've been testing it out in the deck that's playing a couple of converged spells, but honestly just trying to play a bunch of, like, Siege Rhinos and, things that are difficult to cast.
Note your converged spells are 2 creatures. We haven't talked about them yet.
That's true.
The Flying Elf and the 2/2 Vision.
Yeah, we'll get to them. So, but this card is also interesting because haste is such an interesting space for it. You know what card this is randomly working really, really well with? Anafenza. Like, as a top deck, you're just like, oh, cool, I have a creature to pair with my Anafenza now, and it's interesting. It's also been picking off Planeswalkers left and right, because people will go down to 1, like, tick my Jace down to 1 to kill your last guy, pass the turn, and you're like, cool, play my 1 with haste, kill your Jace. It's been really interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting. I didn't even consider any of that.
Like, I've been definitely, like, seeing, like, when you're supposed to hold it, and you hold them, like, if you don't play it on turn 2, you just hold it for a long time until it becomes relevant. Like, people, like, come down to Exaxes on, like, life swings, and like, oh, yeah, well, here's my extra 1. Here it is. So this card is really interesting. Not being able to use the mana on spells is awkward, and obviously, a 2-mana Birds of Paradise with a restriction is a lot worse than just a regular Bird of Paradise. But this at least takes, like, it knows it's not as good as other cards, but it still tries to do something unique.
All of that, and we didn't even talk about it in an ally deck, in a 5-color ally deck.
It triggers your allies, can attack after it triggers your allies.
Once it gets all the triggers, yep.
So yeah, so it's cool that it's good on turn 2 to cast your allies, but also not terrible when it's attacking with your allies on turn 5 or 6.
Yeah. I mean, that's why it couldn't be Lotus Cobra, because Lotus Cobra ain't got no allies.
And Lotus Cobra could be an ally.
Snakes ain't got no allies. They are for themselves.
The snakes are with you. Yes.
Yep. Parcel Mouth? Is that what this is? we get it.
Because snakes go hiss.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They do.
All right, our next one, an enchantment from Beyond, 3 and a green, devoid again. Why not? At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature that you can sacrifice for 1 mana. 1 in a green, sacrifice from Beyond. Search your library for an Eldrazi card, reveal it, put it in your hand. It's interesting that this says Eldrazi specifically, not just a colorless like all the other Eldrazi enablers seem to be. So this automatically goes to, what is that, Awakening Zone?
Awakening Zone is the comparison, yes.
So this is Awakening Zone, except for you actually get guys you can attack with if you aren't drawing anything you're ramping to. But if you're not drawing anything you're ramping to, you can sacrifice this to go get... Man, I don't know if this card's good.
At 4 mana, it's steep.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of, like, playing like a dirtily deck where this is the thing, like, this is the thing you most want to stick. And then you just want to play like a control game until you can go off with your Eldrazi. You play like one Ulamog, and then you'll go to town that way. So I think the card is interesting. Awakening Zone saw plenty of play. And this card, again, making 1/1s is definitely super relevant. Again, how well are enchantments placed in the current format is yet to be seen. But this card definitely does a lot of work by itself.
Yeah, when the next block comes out, and no, Jamoka's Command doesn't even go out then. So it's going to
be... No, it doesn't.
4 sets from now?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 sets from now. 4 sets from now, I wouldn't be surprised if this all play.
Well, I think it's not. I don't think it's 4 sets because rotation happens earlier now.
Well, it's
But
But dragons. Yeah, you're right.
Dragons
You're
is that
right.
right?
Yeah. I'm thinking it was in.
yeah, that's
never
what I
mind,
thought too. But no, it's So
Yeah,
4
that's-
sets from now, pick these up.
could be good.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Next we have Giant Mantis. Oh, we're not talking about Giant Mantis. It's a sweet reprint.
It is a Mirage reprint. I opened these in like my first packs.
I remember the original art for that made me think of like 1950s horror movies too, because it was just like I think it was like attacking a Pegasus or something.
Yes, it
Did I
was
get it right?
attacking Pegasus.
Yeah,
Yep.
man, so good. All right, anyways, let's talk about a real card though. Green Warden of Marasa. We talked about this a little bit. It's 4 colors and a green for a creature elemental that is a 5/4. When Green Warden of Marasa enters the battlefield, return target card from your graveyard to your hand, and when it dies, return 2. If it dies, you may exile it. If you do, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. I'm sorry, I misread. So the total package here is it gets 2. Like, it comes into play, it gets 1. When it dies, it gets 1. So just like a value machine, I suppose.
Yeah. What was that vanishing card?
Deadwood Treefolk.
Deadwood Treefolk. So this card gets any card, not just a creature, like Deadwood Treefolk got. So, I don't know, this one might be good. 6 mana for a 5/4 isn't very impressive, so you need to be using his abilities.
Right. And like you're using 6 mana the turn you play it. Like Den Protector, you get to like morph and like spread out the cost so that you have a high chance of casting the card you're getting back when you flip up Den Protector.
Right, and you flip up Den Protector on their turn. And
Right. This card is like you're tapping out to get a card back, so I hope you don't die. And I certainly hope they don't Abzan Charm this card, because then you're in a world of hurt. What do you think, Morgan?
I think it's a fine card. It feels weird to have like a lot of this effect that we have in Standard now, right? Since we have Den Protector and this guy. I mean, it effect is powerful, and it like, I mean, we've all been on the losing end of a Den Protector, and that feels really, really gross. I mean, this one, I don't know how much of that effect you really want, but maybe it's 5 and 6 of that effect in certain decks, and I think that's fine. And its body is a bit meh. I mean, can still trade with Siege Rhino, which is okay. I think it's interesting that it is a May on the Exile too, so you can still like loop these guys theoretically.
Yeah,
if you have
want
Den
it to go to the
Protector,
yard, you can,
yeah. So I don't think it's bad. I think it's right to be mythic, and its cost seems fine. I don't know if it is like a $10 card like it is right now via Star City, but I think it's acceptable.
I think I'm going to try this on my cube as well, because probably last year I was just thinking, man, green only has Primeval Titan as a 6-drop. All the other ones are pretty subpar. I think this deserves a spot in Woodland Bellower. It helps out that. So it's interesting. We're getting some good 6-drops now from the creature color.
Yeah.
Oh, is that important?
Yeah. All right, next card. Nissa's Renewal.
Whoa, what? Did I not put it on there? Oh man, did we delete it? Oh, I want to talk about Natural Connection for a minute.
Next card, Natural Connection. 2 and a green for an instant. Search your library for a basic land. Put it in the battlefield tapped. So days of rampant growth have long gone. I think we've known they've been long gone. It's interesting though. You can play this in ramp. Obviously, you can also play this in the landfall deck because it's a combat trick.
Yeah, I as an instant, I thought that was pretty interesting. Like if there's like a hybrid ramp control deck that wants to always play on instants.
Yep.
Like I don't know what deck wants to hold up Scatter the Winds and like Natural Connection, but it can.
Certainly can.
And this is not. I mean, I can't think of like when is this normally an instant?
Harrow from the last Zendikar block.
Oh, okay. So a long time ago.
It's been a while, yeah.
So I just thought it was worth mentioning. Like that is instant is not normally the card type you see on this kind of card. So now I guess we can move then to Nissa's Renewal.
You want me to read that one too? All
Yeah,
right.
go ahead.
Nissa's Renewal. It's a sorcery for 5 and a green. Search your library for up to 3 basic land cards. Put them on the battlefield tapped. You gain 7 life. I don't really like this card.
But it says +3/+3 on your guys, right, Morgan?
Yeah, or are there various landfall triggers that could potentially be around?
How many retreats you're going on?
Yeah, sure. I mean, gaining 7 life is pretty big too. I mean, it's the Heroes Reunion test. How much would you pay to gain 7 life?
Well, the other test would be like from Shards of Alara, Kiss of the Amisha.
Yeah.
Which costs 4 white, blue, gain 7, draw
Yeah.
2. So this gets you an extra card, but it's land. But they're lands instead. But they go into play, so
They
I don't
do
know.
come into play.
So it's probably not the best parallel, but the thing really hurting this card is an aggressive deck will kill you.
Yeah.
So this gains you 7 life, so maybe that's relevant. I don't know.
I mean, this card takes you from 6 to 10 for Ulamog.
It does.
So-
It does that.
Yeah, and I mean, you could just be getting to this card early if you're already ramping anyway. So, it is interesting to say the least. I don't know. Like, it's one of those cards where it's like, I wouldn't be surprised for it to see play. I wouldn't say that this is unplayable. I'm not like super high on the card or anything like that, but
Fair enough.
it's mediocre. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Well, let's move to the card then that plays really well with it. Scythe Leopard. Right? Because you want to get 3...
Well, yeah, when you curve out, you go 1 drop, 2 drop, wait a bit, cast your 6 mana spell,
Well, you
get
just make
them.
land drops for landfall triggers. That's
Oh
all you
yeah,
care.
right.
So Scythe Leopard is a green for a 1/1 creature cat. It has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. I don't know. I've yet to be excited by this card in any way, shape, or form. Like the aggressive landfall deck needs this card, but it is not exciting.
Right. The landfall deck. I don't even know if it needs this card. I guess it does if you're staying strictly on landfall. Then the deck needs this card. But I think I'd just rather just play mono red splash Tarkus Command.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This card you have to have a fetch land to make this card worthwhile on the attack. And whenever you miss, like if you don't have a land drop, like possibly if you're in your aggressive deck after turn 3, like nice 1/1. I hope you drew more than one of them.
Do you want to combine the conversation with this card and then Snapping Gnarlid?
Sure, we can.
Yeah, that makes sense. So
Snapping Gnarlid's a beast, a creature, 1 in a green for a 2/2. Landfall gets +1/+1.
Right.
I will point out that the landfall aggressive decks in the past played 26 or 27 lands. So, for the reason you said, turn 4 or 5, you don't want to just have a 1/1 guy. You want to keep playing a land every turn.
right. This one I feel like is more playable to me than Scythe Leopard is, and that seems awkward because I know that obviously your 1-drop is more aggressive, but a 2/2 compared to a 1/1 as a base stat is such a huge difference.
Yeah.
But the lack of like any sort of like going back to like Steplinks got +2/+2. It was 0/1, but like landfalls were huge triggers. Played a GOP at first strike. Like these are all just like every single one of these feels so bland. Like here's a guy with a body, they got +1/+1.
They probably feel bland because they're less swingy. You know, +2/+2 was the games where your opponent drew 4 fetch lands, you died. There's nothing about it. Maybe these are just more fair in that way. It's more of a consistent experience. I don't know.
And I guess we can do just combining train, right? And then take a look at Swell of Growth here for a second. Swell of Growth is a green and a colorless instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. You may put a land card from your hand on the battlefield. So you get another effect that pumps a creature and then lets you put a land into play, much like a Tarkus Command pumps a creature, or pumps your creatures, lets you put a land into play. I suppose if you've gone like Scythe Leopard, Scythe Leopard into Scythe Leopard, and then into like fetches, and then you're like Swell of Growth, put a fetch land into play, fetch, your opponent's dead, and you feel really good about it.
I don't think it requires that much of a Magic Christmas Land scenario. I think this card might just be fine by itself. I don't know if it's good enough for Standard, but for some reason I really like this card.
It's because it's got a cool dinosaur.
Yeah, that's probably it. If you have a common uncommon cube, we haven't tested it yet, but I think you should try it.
I would agree. So, cool.
Our next one is a reprint, Sylvan Scrying, 1 in the green for a sorcery. Search your library for a land card, put it in your hand, shuffle your library. Important to note, this is any land card. All the other ones we've been talking about before were basics. This sees modern play, nice reprint, cool art.
Yeah, it sees modern play in a deck looking for Tron lands.
Yeah, one deck looking for Tron lands. I don't know if you'd play this in standard. I guess if there's a land you really have to get.
Again, it depends on how good the man lands are in the next set, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, is there one that you're just like, man, I want to draw that man land every single time? Maybe that's it.
I mean, I feel like there's going to be like some caveat lands that we'll probably talk about later that you may want this effect. So,
And you can get Haven the Spirit Dragon.
yeah,
Foundry the Consoles.
Ooh.
No,
you can't
probably
get
not.
that.
Probably not. Probably
No, you
not gonna
can.
do this.
It's
You
a
can.
land, and you're allowed to search for it.
Yeah, you can get it.
You probably don't want to.
No, not with all the awesome like not colorless, spell lands that we have now. Gosh, good job, Wizards.
Let's move on to Morgan's favorite card in the set.
What? Who's putting that in my mouth?
This is Undergrowth Champion.
Oh yeah, this guy.
This is a 2/2 mythic for colorless green. Creature elemental. Yeah. All right. If damage would be dealt to Undergrowth Champion while it has a +1/+1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove a counter from it. Landfall, whenever a land enters battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Undergrowth Champion. So this has your, like, if you remember played in Judgment, they had Phantoms. This is your Phantom trigger. Like, Phantoms, whenever they had damage dealt to them, it would be all prevented, it'd remove a counter, and they all had, like they'd be like 1/0s with 3 counters on them. So when you finally were able to get through them, they'd be dead. This one is interesting.
Yeah, this one builds it back up.
Yeah.
I think it's very important not to look at this as a 3-drop. I think you have to play this on turn 4.
What do you mean?
I mean, so you're just going to get wild slashed.
Morgan, how do you feel about this card?
This card's $20 right now. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. I've been looking for speculative lists, expecting to play against it in testing. I just have not. I haven't. Have you had this card cast against you yet?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Has it been good?
Oh, God, no.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
So just the body's just not good enough?
So it was played against me in a Scales deck, a hardened Scales deck. And the other creatures it was playing were like Hanger-Back Walker and Mana Gorger Hydra. Both of those cards are terrifying. This card is not. You can block it for days. Like, this card attacks into a Hanger-Back Walker, you block, you get a bunch of Thopters, and you kill them with flying before they have a chance to get this card through. It does get to just keep attacking forever. I will say, in the Hardened Scales deck that I had fetch lands, it felt really, really similar to, was it Primordial Ooze? Was that the one? Predatory Ooze.
Yeah.
That's the one. That essentially, like, it had that card had Indestructible, and every time it attacked, it got a +1/+1 counter, and it essentially became the Abyss. Every turn you had to chump it. And there's scenarios where you have to do that. But you can do that. You can just sit there and chump it and chump it and chump it. And eventually, every time you chump it,
slowly win the fight
Yeah.
back to when they can't play anymore.
then you just
lands.
don't block their 2/2. So, I said before, I think this card is playable, and it is playable, but I'm definitely, like, not high on it anyway. And I know Morgan
don't-
kind of hates it.
I just don't get the price tag.
No, I agree with you on that. That's ridiculous.
I don't get that.
There is also an interaction that might come up that might be important to know, that if you have Wild Slash that's ferocious, and this is a 2/2 with 1 counter on it, Wild Slash will kill it.
That's a real...
Oh,
The damage won't be
yeah.
prevented, but the +1/+1 counter will still be removed.
yep.
That's good. I mean, like, I don't know. My 3-drop's Anafenza. And give me one reason why I want to play this over Anafenza.
Well, yeah, especially if 3 color cards are easy to cast.
I mean,
Right.
You can play it with Anafenza.
Well, I mean-
Actually, there you go. That's a combo.
Cool.
I'm not saying it's massively impressive, obviously.
Well, it could be. It just depends on how many counters you get on your Undergrowth Champion.
Yeah, I don't get the price tag on this card, especially when like one of the best removal spells that we still have in the format is Abzan Charm, and then the Abzan Charm is like, pew! What are you doing? I don't care.
Oh, well, you did it. You played a bunch of Hardened Scales, and you made that guy like a 6/6. I'm proud of you. It's dead now.
It's exiled,
But
I don't like
It
it.
did cool things. So it's like, what was it, the Remand flavor text, right? Well, at least all like the fancy arm waving was cool or something like that.
Yeah, I don't get
That's
it.
not that one. It's got to be the.
I will. I'm not saying. I personally don't. I'm not really that impressed with this card. I will say that I will not be surprised if it does like some really messed up things.
I think the deck that's playing it can do messed up things. I don't
Yeah.
think this card is the reason why.
Sure.
What's the Remand one?
Well, at least all of that arm waving and arcane babbling you did was impressive.
I feel like because the Hardened Scales deck I've seen, and we've seen a couple lists for that, like they're playing, I said, Jamoka's Command, which is terrifying with Hardened Scales. They're playing Hangerback Walkers, which are really scary with Hardened Scales. And again, Mana Gorger Hydra has been pretty gross too, because that card just gets huge, and then you have to Abzan Charm it because nothing else is killing it. So I get you're also playing a do nothing enchantment half the time, which is whatever. But this is the least impressive card in that deck. So, all right, last card for green.
Last card for green, Woodland Wanderer. 3 and a green for a 2/2 elemental. It's not very good. Vigilance and Trample. Converge. Oh wait, he gets bigger. Converge. He enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter for each color of mana spent to cast him. So you could make him a 6/6 if you use 4 colors of mana.
So compare this to Undergrowth Champion, which is a 3-mana 2/2 that you have to play a land to pump it, and the next turn you can play a 6-mana Trample Vigilance creature.
No, on the same turn, because Undergrowth Champion.
Oh right, it's a 4-drop. You're right.
Yeah.
One of those sounds a lot better to me, but I don't know.
Yeah, I like this card a lot.
Yeah,
I like
do
it
too.
as Siege Rhino 5, 6, 7 maybe.
Yeah, and this is one of the cards that drew me to playing Abzan with a color splash. It was originally Rhinos 5, 6, 7, and 8, and it's cut back down to 7, and it might be 5 and 6. Like the card compared to Siege Rhino, when this card's unchecked, your opponent just dies.
Yeah, one of those very big cards, very good impact on the board, but it doesn't give you any value when you cast it. There's no into the battlefield trigger. There's no dice trigger. There's no
right. It's
no
just a big guy. Now, what you're banking on though is the removal in the set staying bad. This is one of those awkward creatures that, like an Abzan, like they may not have any targets for their ultimate price until you play this guy, but it does not die to things like the command. Like it cannot be killed with Jamoka's Command most of the time. Like that is really difficult to do. It gets to attack with impunity through things, and if you get to like Valorous Stances when they do have removal, like during combat, which I've done multiple times, it's gross. This is a huge body. I really like this card. When I say really like, I'm not like, man, I'm gonna go out and like play 4 of them immediately. But
right.
like this is the kind of card where like you're already playing good cards in a deck, and this benefits from the mana base of it, and you just get a huge guy.
Yep. Just a role player in that one deck.
Yeah, sure. What do you think, Morgan?
I like it. I've been able to see it cast, and when it is like cast for its like full value, you're like, man, that felt good. There's something about that just felt good.
When you're able to sequence your lands into turn 4 and you have all these colors and you just play that, and you're just like, man, I feel like I really did something. And then they ultimate price, and you're like, yeah, well, screw you too. But
whatever, man. But that
look at the art.
felt good for a little bit.
He's using a Hedron as a club. Well, or Wanderer Smash.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, what do we think of green then?
I think I like green.
Yeah.
I think Woodland Wanderer, the Mana Elf, are pretty good. If there's a landfall deck, I think it might just be green-red. So I like green.
Yeah, green seems to have like again, we're getting a lot of like res stuff. A lot of like Eternal Witness sort of stuff going on. But yeah, I like this a lot. And like Sylvan Scrying is one of those like weird reprints that is like kind of like maybe not you use it right now, but it's nice to know that it's not going to be just like a $3 uncommon anymore. So. I guess we go to gold.
Gold.
I guess I get to start gold with one of the coolest gold cards I think I've seen in a long time, which is Bring to Light. Let me make sure I click on it so I can read it correctly. Bring to Light is 3 colorless green and a blue for sorcery. Converge. Search your library for a creature, instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of colors of mana spent to cast Bring to Light. Exile that card, then shuffle your library. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. This is a really unique tutor because we just talked about how easy it is to hit Converge for 5, like it's going to be in this format. And then you get to play this cool space where this gets to be any card, essentially any card in your deck that you want outside of like a Planeswalker. So you can do a lot with this card.
It's important. Yeah, you certainly can do a lot with this card. I think I've seen a few people say that you can get an instant and just like a counterspell and then cast it whenever you want. But that's not true. You have to cast it as Bring to Light resolves.
Yeah, it's part of the resolution of the spell. It's casting that spell. Yeah, that does not work. Not to mention it's also like it's a sorcery too, so like you also can't try to get cute with it on your opponent's turns. Like they didn't design it that way because then you can just be like, I'm going to play 4 of these. But
yeah, but this is an important card. You might go get a certain ally that you need. You might just go get another Siege Rhino.
Morgan, were you the one who posted the 8 Rhino deck?
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm going to play 4 Siege Rhinos and 4 Bring to Light so I could always cast Siege Rhino.
Right, and then you're just playing other, like, one of value spells, so you actually are playing, like, Oh, so you're playing 2 language, but you're actually really playing 6th language, because you can always just find it with your Bring to Light, and it costs more, but sometimes when you need something, you're willing to pay a little more for it. You're like, I'm at the mall and I need this right now. I could get it off Amazon, but it's a now thing.
I think that's where the power of this card lies, is in the search for an instant or sorcery. We're pretty used to searching for creatures and creature toolboxes, but that instant and sorcery is going to be where somebody figures out how to make this card really good.
Yeah, I was talking. There's a weird tension with this because, like, if you're playing a bunch of one-ofs in your deck, like, if you were playing a Mystical Teachings deck, you know how this works. Or myself playing a Gifts Ungiven deck, like, sometimes you draw those one-ofs when they're really bad, and you wanted to draw the Gifts Ungiven. Like, oh, I didn't want to draw this one of Languish. I wanted to draw Bring to Light to search for a better spell. But the way you've designed your deck, that's going to happen. So finding what the perfect mix of tension there is going to be difficult and really rewarding, though, as a deck builder.
Yeah, and not to mention this card actually is starting to spike. It started off really low, but now it's on a $7.99 card on Star City.
Wow.
So also, like, another good, like, metric people use, TCG Player. It's definitely I checked it today and there were like no copies left to pre-order. And they were advertising like as low as 9 something, so this could end up being like a pretty expensive card. So it might be something you either want to, if you want it, hold on to it if you open it pre-release, but if you don't, you might want to just move it. So
it's also got combo applications, I think. I don't know how many applications, but like I've heard people talking about like this card in Scapeshift because like it becomes Scapeshift or whatever other card you need.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Modern.
Yeah,
as the possibilities for this card are endless.
I've heard people talking about like Teamer Twin because you can search for not Teamer, Teamer Twin, because you can go search for your creature or you can go search for like
Kiki-Jiki.
or like it's been really interesting, some of the things. Now granted, in Modern, like it's a little more damaging the way Shocklands work, but you can still play your off color Shockland if you want to use this card. It's sort of interesting.
Yeah. For sure, I like it. I think it's a well designed card, and I think there's enough of a need for toolbox since we lose Cord, which is kind of awkward. So I think there's enough of a need for this sort of effect to happen, and it, in a vacuum, can be very powerful. Tuners are powerful, so even this one is a little bit limited. It's still wide enough for you to have a nice varied amount of things it can go get. So I like it.
Awesome. Next card.
So our next card is Brutal Expulsion. It's a sorcery.
No.
It's an instant, sorry.
He's trying to find it. It's under gold.
It's an instant for 2 blue and a red. Every card I have is devoid. This also has devoid. Choose one or both. Return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. Or Brutal Expulsion deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If that permanent would be put into the graveyard this turn, exile it instead. So, return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. So, you can use this as a counterspell, like the Venser Shaper's Savant. Man, this card just has a lot going on for it. I really like this card.
Yeah, this is definitely for, I think a lot of people. Like, the first time I saw Venser, it confused the heck out of me, but especially if you're not really familiar with how the stack works. Yeah. Like, I don't understand how you return a spell to your hand. Like, well, the spell's sitting on the stack right now. And then, so this, I think, will be a learning curve for a lot of people who the first time they cast this and go, oh, or the first time they have their spell returned to their hand, like, wait, what's happening now? Yeah. Well, it's going to go back.
Remand helps a lot with that,
That is true. That is very true. But yeah, the modes here are pretty impressive. Like,
so your control deck, you get to, they cast a 4-mana guy.
Yeah,
you get to counter that and then kill kill something with 2 toughness. That's pretty good.
I mean, like, probably set up like sweet time walks that way.
Yeah.
So I think Dave called this Jilt on steroids or something to that effect.
And it even deals 2 to a planeswalker. So that's like, the weakness of a control deck is dealing with planeswalkers. So this kind of picks up planeswalkers.
I mean, so like that it does, but it does that at the cost of not saying to a player.
Yeah,
this is the only awkward thing. So
maybe that was just too good on your rare. Yeah.
Morgan, though, this sweet battle box card, though, right?
Yeah, I'm glad I got my foil already. It's going to be sweet. I have high expectations for this foil. I hope it looks cool, even if it doesn't. I'm still going to be super jazzed to play this in battle box. Maybe in standard. Who knows?
Possibly. All right, so let's move to another devoid card, Fathom Feeder. I think I actually said I did Seeker on the notes. I'm so sorry. Fathom Feeder. This is a blue and a black for a 1/1 creature Eldrazi drone. Again, devoid. It has Death Touch and Ingest. So whenever it deals damage to a player, that player exiles the top card of his or her library. And then has an activated ability of for 3 colors, a blue and a black. Draw a card. Each opponent exiles the top card of his or her library. So for a 2-drop, this card has a ton of text. I like this card a lot.
I did at first. I think I'm falling off of it a little bit, but that's just because I just keep comparing it to Baleful Strix, which is
Stop it.
way too good.
Yes.
So that has been the comparison, but Baleful Strix drew you a card.
Draws you a card immediately, which makes it very good.
Yeah.
This one, it takes a while for you to get that extra card back, but it's still useful late game because you just spend the mana to draw a card.
Yeah, so this card, like, if there's going to be a processing deck, this is your turn 2 Ingest Enabler. Death Touching, like, guarantees that most players are not going to quickly trade off their early drops with it, with the exception of Hangerback Walker, so that's awkward. But it's probably going to get in a couple times, which will help set up your other cards if you're playing, like, Ulawag's Nullifier, which we'll get to, or things like this. If they get aggressive quickly, like if they're playing creatures, then you can hold back and like have your Rattlesnake with your Death Touch cry. And then this card also plays really well with Jace and Ojutai's Command. Because this is another 2-drop that can be returned by Ojutai's Command, especially like during blocking scenarios where like you can just return a Death Toucher to play to like just kill creatures out of nowhere. It's pretty impressive. And you can return it late game, kind of like you would do with Soulfire Grandmaster, where like, okay, it's really late in the game. Now this activated ability is super relevant. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'm evaluating it because of how it interacts with that card as well. But I think this is a lot of stuff for just a card.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. I think it might just be good enough just to be a sideboard card in a straight blue-black deck that you just want to bring in against aggressive deck just to block.
Mm-hmm.
I also love the art on this because this is definitely like, honey, I'm home. Like, it's Eldrazi's like literally like coming through the door like, honey, I've been feeding all day in the Fathoms.
I think this card's sweet. I think it's probably the closest we'll get to a Baleful Strix in Standard.
Yeah.
Baleful Strix is a real good card.
It's probably a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's one of my favorite cards to cast in Legacy, so it makes me sad we couldn't get
No.
an actual version, but this will do.
No, yeah, I like this card. I think it'll be sweet, and I think this is like the kind of creature that blue black even like wants. Like it's good no matter when you draw it. It'll always be relatively relevant throughout the stages of the game. Which when you want your cards to be that control, I think it'll be pretty sweet. Moving on.
All right, next we have Kiora, Master of the Depths. Planeswalker with 4 loyalty, costs 2 green blue, +1. Untap up to 1 target creature and up to 1 target land. -2. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a creature card and or a land card from among them into your hand. Put the rest into your graveyard, which matters. And -8, you get an emblem with whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may have it fight target creature, and then you put 3 8/8 blue octopus creature tokens into play.
Yeah, so it's important how that last ability reads, because a lot of people thought that was like infinite. Like, oh man, every creature fights and gets more octopi, and then the octopi fight. No, you gain the ability where they all have fight, and then you put 3 octopi into play, and then they get to fight creatures.
Correct.
So, still sweet ultimate.
Yeah, we talked about this card a lot too. But when it was first revealed, I think we were pretty okay on it. Like,
I am lower on it now than I was.
Yeah,
Fair
I'm
enough.
not super excited by it, but just like the other Kiora, it might just have a space that it fills.
Yeah. Like I'm not. This is like out of the 3, this is probably like the least exciting, but it does synergize well with existing cards in the format. I could see. By no means is this like a bad card or like a bad Planeswalker. I feel like it's relatively well designed and synergizes well. I don't think it will be like lighting up the charts or anything like that, but I think it's fine.
Yeah, the one thing I wish it did, because she took the Biden of Thassa from Thassa, is +1 whenever one of your creatures deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. That's what I wish it was.
Really sweet.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. It kind of would be a sweet throwback. So, but yeah, this card is all right.
Cool. Let's go to then March from the Tomb. This is a sorcery for 3, a white and a black. Return any number of target ally creature cards with total converted mana cost 8 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is like rally the allies, rally the ally, like
Something, yeah.
sort of like this is interesting. So ostensibly less powerful than rally the ancestors on the whole, but you do get to do some interesting math with how you set these up. And most of these allies, even the ones with huge swingy effects, actually have like, with the exception of like the ones that do +2/+2, right, are fairly manageable, right? Like. You sort of get to decide. I think on average you're probably getting 3 allies out of this if you have a graveyard that's stocked.
Yeah, probably.
So 5 mana to return 3 creatures to play, and again, where Rally the Ancestors exiles them. These do not. So like, this is pretty good for board presence. I don't know if this is a main deck card, but if the allies deck is looking for a way to recover from a Wrath effect, you could do worse than this.
Yeah, this might be it. I think I like Rally the Ancestors more just because it's an instant, but this might be good.
I mean, it's definitely worth talking about. There's a couple cards like this that are like ally specific. That's like, okay, this is interesting, right? And you're gonna feel really good when you get to go like 2/3 and like 2/3/3. Like, yeah, there's 8. All right, good.
Yeah.
I just enjoy the art where it's just like even zombies are like, yeah, well, we gotta do something. Yeah, how would you feel if you were another ally? You're like, I guess if you're fighting with me, that's fine, but don't get too close.
It's really interesting, like the Draina storyline where they're talking about like how like all the vampires and like the humans like traveling together, and like there's like this. They didn't really talk about it, but like Draina like killed a vampire that fed on a human like publicly to make that stop happening. But whenever a human got like sick or like had like the wasting disease from the Eldrazi, everyone would kind of like get up and walk away from them, and then the vampires just move in and feed. Right? So like there's this really weird alliance where it's like we need to feed, so that guy's sick, we're eating him. So it's like I can see like this March from the Tomb. You have like a couple like zombies who are like standing next to humans and start like nibbling on them a little bit, just like, hey, will you stop that? Sorry,
please. We're all here for the same reason. I understand that.
So hungry.
All right, next we have Munda, Ambush Leader. He costs a 2 red and a white. He's a legendary core ally. He's a 3/4. He has haste and rally. When he or another ally comes into play, look to top 4 cards of your library. If you do, you can reveal any number of allies from among them, put those back on top of your library in any order, and put the rest on the bottom in any order. Man, as I read this when it was spoiled, I got really excited until I had to put him back on top of my library.
Yeah, this card's kind of poop soup.
Went from a rig leader to a recruiter.
Yeah.
Right.
See, I don't think he's that bad though. I do think there's something to be said for like, I'm going to draw an ally card for the rest of the game, right?
Certainly, yeah. His first trigger might not be very impressive, but when you get the second and third trigger and you're just constantly streaming allies, maybe that's where his power
I need
lies.
you to brick on a spell for a turn. Oh, no, there's nothing but allies here. I don't know if you know that. I called them all. I was like, hey guys, get over here. It's a big old rally the ally party. We're having fun. So I think that's powerful. Yeah, it'd be nice if it drew a card, and as a 3/4 for 4 with haste, his body is not good.
Not impressive, but again, he has haste, so he gets all those rally.
I did it.
All those rally synergies.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe maybe I'm just down on it because I don't think like the ally deck is there all there yet in standard. So maybe that's why I'm kind of like meh on this guy. But
Yeah, me too.
you make a point.
on that front, like the attacking ally deck, I'm pretty down on, and I think that's the ally deck this guy goes into.
That's probably true.
He looks like he's pretty good at attacking, so that's where I would want to use him.
So I guess continuing the train of legends all of a sudden, now we get Noyandar, Royal Shaper. 3 white-blue for a legendary creature merfolk ally. He's a 4/4. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may put 3 1/1 counters on target land you control. If you do, that land becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with haste that's still a land. So, cast an instant or sorcery, awaken a land.
Yeah.
Interesting concept. Don't know how good this is going to be.
I just wanted to talk about this card just for the sheer fact that people pointed out some synergies that this guy has with Jeskai Ascendancy.
Not wrong. Hey, untap my creatures. Oh, they're also lands.
Lands, yes,
So,
correct. Also, keep doing this until you're dead. Basically, we're gonna kill you.
Yeah,
That's
because
spicy.
you get to make all of your. Eventually, you make all your lands creatures,
Yeah.
and then you just start making them bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I think that this might be too cute for that deck being,
It might be.
being a 5-drop.
It might be. I don't disagree with that, but hey, it's there. It's there, guys. Brew away.
I mean, yeah, if you have Jeskai Ascendancy and you get to untap with this guy in play, you probably can't lose the game.
You probably not. Probably not. Also, I'd like to point out that he has face fins. Is that what that is?
He's like the kind of like the Pirates of the Caribbean Davy Jones.
Gotcha.
He's playing the piano. With
It looks like he's got some wicked sideburns. That's all I gotta say.
He's definitely into European jazz.
All
All right.
right, our next one is Omnath, Locus of Rage.
He got so angry.
He
got
was
so
really
angry.
upset. He was really upset.
The legendary elemental cost 3 red, green. He's a 5/5. Landfall, put a 5/5 red-green elemental creature token into play. And whenever Omnath or another elemental you control dies, Omnath deals 3 damage to target creature or player. You said you've been seeing this in testing?
Yeah, this has been a really common CD Unwritten target. Like, the first time I got flipped onto a CD Unwritten, I was like, oh, okay. But that deck is also playing, like, Nice's Pilgrimage, right?
Okay.
And it gets kind of scary when, like, your opponent untap. You're like, okay, cool, have an Omnath in play. You're like, land for turn, Pilgrimage. Oh, I have 15 power now. Did you kill them? Take 9.
It's kind of that Thunderbreak region effect where you want to get rid of this guy, but then you're taking damage to do it.
I mean, it's definitely... I haven't lost to it yet, I'll say that. But it's definitely a card that I've seen, and a card that can get out of control really quick. Because people talk about, like, oh, how many land drops are you making at, on turn 7? Well, maybe that's not the point. Maybe you're ramping into this, and then you have those lands held back. Not to mention, this, with a fetch land, like, your fetch land is, like, representing, again, 10 power. Yeah. Which is really gross.
Also works well with Awaken, because those are elemental creatures when you awaken your lands. Which is...
So if they die, you get bolted.
Yes, correct.
It's pretty nifty.
Important to point out. Also, like, there's other elementals that can be made, like Nissa, the creature that she makes is an elemental, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think
Ashaya.
So I think the achievement with this guy is to have him in play and have your opponent cast a sweeper, and you just have like a couple fetch lands sitting there. They just forget about it. Make a bunch of elementals and then kill them with lightning bolts.
Oh my gosh!
Pew, pew, pew.
So actually, and this card also works really well with Flip Nissa, because like its +1 also says like if it's a land, put it onto the battlefield.
Yeah, that's true.
So
let me tell you about my best friend.
Nissa's like, Omnath, why are you so mad? And he's like, Zendikar hurt. Yeah, I'm angry too. High five, let's fight together. Oh man! All right, next card, Sire of Stagnation, aka Consus. No, never mind, not Consecrated. 4 colorless for a blue and a black. What?
I was gonna say constipated.
Can we just go like the really sad joke of like Consecrated Sphinx, more like not Secrated Sphinx?
No.
Oh.
I like constipated Sphinx because you have to wait.
I concede, so that is perfect. So it's 4 colors for a blue and a black creature Eldrazi. This is devoid. It's a 5/7. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, that player exiles the top 2 cards of his or her library, and you draw 2 cards. So it's compared to Consecrated Sphinx because of the draw 2 cards on your opponent's turn clause, essentially. However,
your opponent could not choose to skip their draw step. They can choose not to play a land.
And turn 6, it seems like a okay thing to do for most opponents. Yeah. I don't like this card.
I'm not super excited about it either. There was a time that a 5/7 gold card with Blackened's mana cost would have been really hard to kill.
Yeah.
But now we just have not Hero's Downfall, but the new one, the Ruinous Path. So
Murderous Cut.
Murderous Cut. Yeah, I'm not super excited about this guy.
Yeah, Absent Charm.
Yeah, if you ever get to trigger this card, you're going to feel really good, but I don't think that's what you want to be doing with your 6 mana. Especially not when, like, there's multiple really good Silumgars at the same casting cost.
Yeah, correct. Multiple really good. There's 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean,
pick your poison.
Both of them better than Sire. So,
yep.
Card, I said, it's a perfect kind of card that I feel is a trap. It looks really splashy and powerful, but it's probably not going to do anything.
I agree. All right, next we have Skyrider Elf.
Woo, woo.
It's a elf warrior ally. For X, green, and blue, you get a 0/0 with
great.
flying.
It's perfect.
It's pretty good. Also has Converge, so you get a +1/+1 counter for each color mana spent to cast it. What does X do? Well, X lets you pay more mana so you can get your Converge up higher. So basically you get a 2 mana 2/2 flyer, or 3-mana 3/3, etc.
So I'm going to tell you right now, this is the good endless one.
That's probably true. Flying's pretty good.
I'm really high on this card. It was one of the cards I first started testing playing the Abzan plus a color deck, and blue was the color. This card is a fine 2-drop because a 2/2 flyer gets in for a lot of damage against a lot of decks. And it becomes a 5/5 flyer and outpaces most of the Thunderbreak Regents and things like this. This card does what you want every turn of the game.
Right, and to go back to the deck you were building, it was just a 4-color deck. That when we did the mana base, we found it was easier to include the 5th color because of the fetch lands. Then all of a sudden, this guy got even better.
Yeah, like, it was already playing okay, it's normally a 4/4. Sometimes you have the Savant to make it a 5/5. Oh no, we'll just add the other color. Why not?
Yeah.
I think this card is underrated. It does a lot of work, and again, as a flyer, it's hard to kill. I mean, yes, you have Abzan Charm, but you can't ultimate price this. If you make it big enough, it gets hard to kill with situational stuff like command. It's pretty good, and it also is able to that flying as evasion it's the best evasion. You know what I mean? Give it shadow, I guess. Otherwise, you know what I mean? It's really good.
And I mean, realistically, if you're trying to play around an Abzan Charm, you can with this card.
Yeah, exactly.
You can still just let's have a 2/2 flyer. That could actually just be good enough.
And and against a lot of decks where even the deck I'm playing is playing Hangerback Walker, but if their turn 2 is Hangerback Walker, they're going to spend turns growing that. It's going to be a while before they can do anything to get rid of it. And you've gotten in for 2, 4, 6 damage. In your deck that has Siege Rhinos. I mean, if your 2-drop's doing that kind of work. You know what I mean? Oh, and then when you draw another one, it's not a 2-drop anymore. Now it's a 5/5 bomb. I really like this card.
Yeah, and it's really cool design how it's not green, blue 3.
Right.
Instead, it's an X, so you can make it a 5/5, but you don't have to pay 5 mana for a 2/2.
Yeah, I'd like to see who. Maybe this will show up in one of the articles on Wizards the next few weeks to see how the design came out. Because I think this is really something that doesn't look intuitive at first, but then it is actually beautiful design wise. So
yeah, this is a great card.
Yep, pretty sweet.
All right, so let's go. This is the last gold card?
Yep.
Yeah, all right. Sorry, Veteran War Leader. Ulamog's Nullifier. This is a 2-colorless blue-black creature Eldrazi processor. It's a 2/3. It has Flash, Devoid, Flash, and Flying. When it enters the battlefield, you may put 2 cards your opponents own from exile into their owner's graveyards. If you do, counter-target spell. So this is our Eldrazi Mystic Snake.
Yeah, what's up, Mystic Snake? How you? How you doing?
It's got a lot of slithery tentacle things, so kind of snake-like.
Sure.
I like this card a lot.
I like this card a lot too. It's just going to come down to how easy is it to get those cards in your opponent's exile zone.
Yeah, I really want to play with a lot of this card, just in testing, and it just hasn't been easy enough to get cards in exile to make this reliable. That being said, where we're sitting with Cons Block directly still in Standard, I said I feel like this is a great control sideboard card. If you're fighting over dig through times, I'll delve 5 to cast dig through time. Okay, well then I'm going to flash and Nullifier, put 2 of those delve cards back in your graveyard and counter your dig through time. And now you have this 2/3 flyer.
Yep.
So that feels really good.
This is probably one of those cards you can't play 4 of, maybe, because
no.
it just works against itself.
And having multiple copies at any given time is really rough.
Yeah.
But the first one and probably the second one are really, really good.
Yeah,
So.
I like this card a lot.
Yeah. All right, cool. So hopefully it finds a home. This could also be the card that has a really powerful ability but isn't worth it, and I hope that it is. I hope it's worth it because she's worth it.
So there are a lot of cool colors. Not colors. Kinda
gold/colorless
cards.
Isn't that cool how that works?
It's weird. I mean that was kind of to be expected though. Usually, sweet 2-color combination cards are plentiful in sets. Even maybe not plentiful, but at least are around. Just because when they make gold cards, they're usually interesting. Pushing the colors together.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some of
Makes
the
good
better
things.
design cards that I feel like are in that gold space.
Yeah.
Like I said, Bring to Light being great, and Skyward Elf, I'm in love with. So,
Yeah.
all blue-green. Interesting how that works. Huh?
All right, our next card is an artifact.
So now we're in actual colorless.
Now we're going to do actual colors. Yeah, we're going to put the 2 sections together, artifact and colorless. We have Aligned Hedron Network. It's a 4-mana artifact. When it comes into play, exile all creatures with power 5 or greater until Aligned Hedron Network leaves the battlefield. So it's got that Banishing Light clause, so you can't do triggers. Also, creatures power 5 or greater. think we missed.
Yeah.
We missed an important one. I can't think of his name.
Siege Rhino?
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah. So this card is, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily good now, but, you know, once Siege Rhino says goodbye, along with Tassiger, they do rotate out at the same time. Maybe we revisit this card and see what the format is, but as of right now, not so good.
I mean, I feel like even, like, so what is this card doing? Like, okay, cool, it fights Ulamog. You mean after they've cast it and exiled 2 permanents? It fights Atarka. You mean after she wiped your board?
It does get rid of the Omnath elemental tokens.
That it does,
Yes.
and they don't die. So.
And they don't die.
I did like the cute interaction you discussed where you could March Machines this card, make it a creature, and then it enters an infinite loop where it has to exile itself, and then it returns and it exiles itself and draws the game. That's hilarious. That's the best thing about this card.
Yeah, there you go.
I want to see that happen.
We figured it out. You're welcome.
Otherwise, I think this card is garbage. Personally.
Yeah.
I want to delete it. It's also the worst art in the set.
He has a personal vendetta against this card. Moving on.
Alright, next card is Blight Herder. Hold on a second. I have to move past the artifacts. Yeah,
Blight Herder is a 5-mana
Thanks.
4/5 Eldrazi processor. When you cast Blight Herder, you may put 2 cards from your opponent's own from exile to the graveyard. Then you get 3 Scions. This card probably wins the award for me of, man, this card looks really good. I don't think I can play it.
it is the closest processor.
It's the closest processor. There's a ton of power here, but you have to work really hard to unlock it.
Yeah.
You get, 7 power?
Across 4 bodies.
Across 4 bodies?
For 5 mana.
That's Cloud
In any color, too.
That's Cloud Ranger territory, I think.
I mean, it's better than Cloud Ranger territory.
Well, it doesn't fly, it doesn't jump.
Right.
Still.
I don't know. The tokens for Cloud Ranger also didn't add mana to your mana pool if need be.
Man, it's so close. How can we not play this card?
Yeah, like I feel like if there's going to be a deck that's based around pure processing, like ingest and processing, this is the payoff for it. This is the card you want.
I keep looking at this and go, go in my cube. Oh wait, you don't. You're just a 4/5.
Maybe this is used with a bunch of like silk wrap and like stasis snare effects, so you can like essentially kill your opponent's creatures and then eat them all.
So you guarantee you always have it.
Right.
Yeah, maybe.
And then you don't get your enchantments blown out. How awful of a board state will that be if you just got a bunch of like empty like stasis snares on the board? Like, what are those there for? Well, they exiled something, but now they do nothing. They're just taking. We can't just get rid of them. So devotion to wait for 8, I guess.
Where's an Oratog when we need it?
All right, let's move then on to Conduit of Ruin. So this is 6 colorless for a 5/5 Eldrazi creature. When you cast Conduit of Ruin, you may search your library for a colorless creature card with converted mana cost 7 or greater, reveal it, then shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. The first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less. So this is Search for Ulamog.
Search for Ulamog. That's correct. It's important to note that first creature, it doesn't have to be a colorless creature.
No,
for the second ability to work.
Which I don't know how relevant that is. It's 6 mana unless you're casting 10 mana spells.
Unless you're casting things like, I mean, even Omnath for cheap would be nice.
No, it's true. It's true.
I don't think it's irrelevant.
I think this is the stepping stone to Ulamog. I don't know if this card. I've seen play just to go get Ulamog, and again, it's the roadblock. 6 mana for a 5/5 is not really that exciting, so you're really banking on the tutor. But again, I guess it depends on how good is casting Ulamog early, and if the better Ulamog is early, then the better Conduit of Ruin is.
Yep. Alright, our next card is Endless One. Endless One is an X spell. It's a creature Eldrazi. X for 0/0 comes into play with X +1/+1 counters. Man, this is a lot worse than Skyreach Elf. This guy doesn't fly. I don't really see the hype behind this card. It seems like he's always behind rate every time on every spot. Like
Really?
3 mana 3/3 isn't good enough. 4 mana 4/4. I can get a 4/5 that drains you for 3.
Yeah, but you also have to have like 3 colors of mana to cast it. I don't know. Maybe this card isn't like as good as people are making it out to be, but it's definitely better than like the other ones of these cards that they've made, like where you have to pay like 1 green and
Where
X.
it's like green X Feral Hydra.
Right, where you feel like those. Oh, the argument was always made where it's like, oh well, you always feel behind when you're casting that card. So I don't know. This card is interesting as it is colorless, but maybe that's where like the interesting part of it ends. So we don't have to talk a lot about it, but it is colorless.
Yeah,
so.
I do feel like it's not that far behind in cost. And honestly, like the decks, especially if you're playing an aggressive deck, it's the kind of card that like if you flood it out really bad, then you have a card in your deck that you can draw that adds relevant board presence. Like that's not the most exciting reason in the world, but I can see why people are excited about the card, even if it's not really that impressive. So it'll see play.
Yeah, maybe all the power in this card is just in the versatility.
Yeah, I mean that's half what I was saying about our Skyrider Elf. Like, is like you can play anywhere on curve. So granted, yeah, this doesn't fly, but it's interesting. Okay, let's move on to Oblivion Sower. We don't have to do too much with this. We talked about this card. It was the first card from the set Spoiled. 6 mana, creature Eldrazi. It's a 5/8. When it enters the battlefield, or when you cast it, target opponent exiles the top 4 cards of his or her library. Then you may put any number of land cards that player owns from exile onto the battlefield under your control. So when we first looked at this card, we said it was going to be really dependent on what the set does. And then we saw in Jest, and we said we still don't know what this card does. I will say, having had this card cast against me, man, it does some interesting things. If it hits at least 2 lands, like you're just like rolling in value. But also the way we just talk about how great these mana bases are, I can personally attest to if you are a little bit behind on lands and then they exile cards and they hit some of your like one of duels, it can really hurt like your future fetch draws. It's really awkward. And if they have any ingesting done and they just get to put like 5 lands into play, you're like, whoa, wait, what just happened? Like, and they just come into play. So they might be able to cast something else depending on what you've done. Like, it's this card, like I said, the body is weird. Like, it's really defensive. It wants you to build up for something huge.
Yeah, if you're playing a control deck against a deck that's ramping up, you kind of have to fear this card, right? If you dig through time,
oh god,
you don't want to just delve all your lands away, because then they could just cast this and get all your lands.
Well, so the other argument then is how many of those are fetch lands and how many of those are relevant?
Sure.
So
there's
but
certainly,
you're right.
I'll never cast this card, but I'm worried about this card.
It presents a powerful effect, and especially like it just being like I'm gonna cast this 6-mana spell and then like potentially like another huge spell, like that feels backbreaking, and that's why this card's very alluring to many people.
It has 8 toughness.
Yeah.
The thing's huge.
It is. I mean, it's really awkward when like you have Valor Stance in the format. That's like,
you have Valor Stance, you can Murderous Cut it and set up their next one. I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, this card is it plays in a very interesting space, and it could be potentially one of the more powerful Eldrazi other than Ulamog that sees play.
Would not surprise me if this card saw a lot of play.
Yeah, and hey, you can already buy it right now.
You got 4 copies as we speak.
Yeah.
All right, last one.
Last card.
Last card.
Not last card.
Lands.
Last colorless card. Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger.
Not my Titan.
Hashtag not my Titan.
He's a 10/10 for 10. When you cast him, exile 2 target permanents. He's also indestructible. Oh, and when he attacks, defending player exiles the top 20 cards of his or her library.
Yeah. So again, we've talked a lot about Ulamog. He's a big guy.
Thumbs up on design of this Ulamog. I really good job. I like it.
Yeah.
It's good.
I think it's good enough that there's a couple other huge Eldrazi that we're not talking about, like Desolation Twin or even Void Winnower, because I think when it comes to Standard, they're not better than Ulamog. That's the one you're going to play.
Yep, I agree.
So I mean, I think they see play. Sure, could somebody be gross and want to play Void Winnower? I guess.
When you want the 5th Ulamog, yeah.
I guess people talked about like that card for like Modern, like, oh, could you just res that like Iona? I'm like, and then it gets pathed. And you're like, but
one is odd.
So I think Ulamog takes the top as a design and it beats out all the other hyper expensive Eldrazi. So he's what you're going to measure the Eldrazi by in this format.
I think so. I mean, we'll see what happens. I haven't played against it, so it's scary though.
So artifacts and colorless as a whole, I'm really disappointed by the artifacts in this set, mainly because there's so many important artifact cards in Origins, and there's no good cards. Like, so you mentioned Pilgrim's Eye is here. Like, is that how you're going to play your Thopter Spy Network now if you want to? You probably just can't play that card.
See, I'm on the other side of that. We probably should have talked about Pilgrim's Eye. Man, you talk about Pilgrim's Eye, I just get excited. So, Thopter Spy Network, they were playing terrible artifacts because they just needed another artifact. And Pilgrim's Eye is not a bad artifact. It really isn't.
It's not, but it's also not like So you're telling me that you're going to win a game of Magic by curving Pilgrim's Eye into Thopter Spy Network? You're going to win a game of Constructed Magic and Standard that way?
I might. You don't know. You don't know me.
Did your opponent miss land drop 2?
You don't know my life.
I think like they could have, like, obviously it wasn't going to be artifact themed, but I do feel like oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
off the Pilgrim's Eye discussion, when we did the Origins preview, we talked about Relic Seeker.
Right.
Because
that
we
seemed to
expected
be
Zendikar to have good equipment. All these equipments are just
awful.
They're limited equipment.
Yeah,
they're not constructed equipment. So that kind of disappointing, I guess.
That is
but
super disappointing. In all honesty,
Yeah.
it's like, give me a reason to want to play that card, and maybe they're just like, maybe they're just too afraid to. I don't.
Well,
that doesn't make any sense.
we did kind of, when we talked about the landfall deck, maybe we should have talked about Sword of the Animist again.
Maybe.
But I don't know.
Yeah. You guys should play as much of that card as possible, please.
You already won that one, okay?
I know. But I want to win more.
I do want to point out, and this could be where the flavor of the set sort of falls a little bit, but Zendikar originally was like, this was your adventure set, and you literally had things like adventuring war gear, or footwear, or whatever it is.
Adventure gear.
Okay, yeah, like, whatever
Adventuring footwear.
it was some kind of boot. Like, wasn't, or no,
It was with foot boots.
Wait, no, what were the boots that gave landwalk, non-basic landwalk?
Trailblazer.
Trailblazer, that's what it is, okay?
Something.
But, like, you literally had, like, some equipment that, like, set that up and looked flavorful and felt, and, like, this set isn't the adventure set anymore. The world is dying.
Right. It stopped being the adventure set for Rise of the Eldrazi. It
Right,
really
so
wasn't the adventure set
I think
there.
like maybe we should have looked through it through that lens, and maybe that's why. But I do think it's sort of awkward. Like, this set does not bridge and play well with Origins. I don't think like the cards, powerful cards will play with powerful cards, but they do not seem thematically to hold that well together.
Right.
All right, let's move to lands then. And we're almost done here with our review.
We are.
So
going
land,
quite briskly.
we've tried. All right, so first land is Ally Encampment. So this is a rare land. Add 1 mana to your mana pool, or add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, but spend this mana only to cast an ally spell, or pay 1, tap, sacrifice Ally Encampment, return target ally you control to its owner's hand. I think this is becoming sort of par for the course. When you have a tribal theme, they get their own multicolored land.
Oh, look, a dragon set. Haven the Spirit Dragon. Oh, look, a Sliver set.
Yeah, Sliver Hive, or Silver Hive, right?
Yeah.
So, this card is interesting. Like, if there's a 5-color ally deck, it wants this card. Though it's really awkward how bad this plays with Unified Front, because it cannot add a color for converge in that one.
Right.
So, it'll see play, but it's going to be pretty niche.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. I mean, like, people like it, and there's like a bunch of other synergies with it. And people like playing like casual ally decks and stuff like that. So in modern,
It's possible that the ally deck could be good enough in modern. Well, good enough as in tier 2. I don't know if it'd be good enough tier 1, but obviously, but
Right. So this would probably be like, I mean, I guess I don't know. It could hold value for long term. Just people are like, yay.
yeah.
And I guess, I don't know. It's fine.
It is what it is. It's fine. It's
Like,
good.
I don't know. It's fine.
it's a land and it does things. And
It's not bad.
It's where the allies camp.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, the next one on our list are the Blighted Lands. Do we want to talk about all of them or just a few?
I mean, so as a whole, these are another cycle of spell lands.
Yep. Spell lands, they tap for a colorless, and then they have an on-color activation to do a
Something.
spell-like effect. You sacrifice them to do a spell-like effect.
And a couple of them I think are pretty exciting. So
The one I like the most is probably Blighted Fen. Taps for 1 or 4 black, sacrifice, target opponent sacrifices a creature. It's kind of a land you just play in your control deck, and then later in the game when you have too much land, they can sacrifice a creature.
I think this is really interesting if we think that, like, the dragons, like Esper Dragons is still a deck. Like, this card's really good against Esper Dragons. Really good against Silumgar, the Drifting Death.
Or Ojutai.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, that's a pretty powerful effect for land, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I honestly like all of these. The white one's probably the weakest, but still powerful. But like Blighted Cataract, which is the blue one, so it's blue and 5 colorless, tap, sack, draw 2 cards. Like lands that draw cards historically, high value, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it seems pretty good. You're probably just going to run this as a one of all the way 2-color deck for sure. Maybe 3-color deck. I don't know. It depends on how the colors line up.
Right. I mean, the red one's a shock, which, like, if your land gets to shock somebody, I mean, that's a powerful effect. And even Blighted Woodland, so it's 3 colors and a green to sack it and search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. If you ever got to play with Croson Verge,
Yeah.
like, very powerful.
Sure.
So, I think, PV expressed some frustration with this, and I don't disagree. All of these seem playable, yet they're pushing you to play 5 colors. So realistically, how many of these lands can you play? And that's frustrating, because, like, here is a cool card. How can you justify playing it?
Right. I think it's... I would not like the format if all the decks were all the colors.
Yeah.
So I think it's better that they're... Like, I do see a red... Like, I keep harping on. The red deck, mono red deck, Splash Targa's Command. We may play the red Shaka in that one. Maybe just a one of. Just... so it's nice just that there's reasons to not just be 5 colors. And these might be it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, next up, we'll only talk a few minutes about the dual lands. I will say that the discount double checks. I know I'm obsessed Keller, so
I don't know what you're talking about. I just see battle lands here.
they honestly, we've already said that we can't count these in our top 5 lists for the set. Because these could just be 5 through 1, and we could just call it a night.
Yeah, it's true.
But these are going to break standards, mana, and I think I'm paraphrasing Patrick Chapin when I say that. He's right. So that's going to be quite good.
I still see a few people on comments on articles saying, why are there so many of these and they're not very good? You're wrong. These are very good.
Fair enough. So let's move on then.
What spell lands do we want to talk about?
So-
I want to talk about the red one, I guess.
I'd like to mention the black one. So we're going to talk about the common cycle of spell lands then. So these are similar to like your Halimar Depths, your Colony Garden from before.
So our first one here, Looming Spires, enters battlefield tapped. When it enters battlefield, target creature gets +1/+1. It gains first strike until end of turn, and it taps for a red. I think the obvious comparison here is Teetering Peaks, which gives +2/+0. Teetering Peaks is a lot more aggressive, but I think this one lets your guy survive the fight a lot better. You're going to play. I really like this card in that red deck. I think the red deck's probably going to play this over the blighted card.
Yeah, like there's definitely some like how many of these can you run, and you have the same issue with Teetering Peaks. Like how many of these can you run, and it really depends on how good your 1-drop is. We still have like Zurgo and Monastery Swiftspear, so that makes this land pushed for sure. To continue on that theme, I like Mortuary Mire a lot, which is black. Enters the battlefield tapped. Taps for a black. When it enters the battlefield, you may put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. I think that's like a really sweet like effect. Even if you're only playing as a one of, right? Like when you draw a land late in the game, like that's the sweet land to draw. Where you're like, oh cool, I'm gonna put the Siege Rhino back on top of my library. Guess what I'm drawing next turn?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a delayed gratification, right?
Right.
If you top deck this, you need help that turn. It doesn't help you.
Right.
But yeah,
no
it's
land would. So
certainly good. Well, Haven Spirit Dragon would.
Okay, fair enough.
But certainly good in those grinding matchups where you're just trying to block 2 for 1 your opponent over and over again.
Yeah, for sure. Did these speak to you, Morgan?
Sandstone Bridge is kind of interesting, right? It's really the defensive one of the family because you get +1/+1 in vigilance, but it still can't you can play both. You can play in both worlds basically, so you can be defensive and still aggressive as well. I kind of like that one. I think like the green one's probably the worst one.
I think people definitely. I read it the same way. Everyone, it's like look at the top 4 cards and then put a basic land on top of your library. I think everyone thought it was put a basic land into your hand.
Yeah.
And the internet exploded, and then people read it and were like, oh well.
Also, I wouldn't want to discount the Skyline Cascade. That probably is one of the more. That is one of the more powerful effects to staple on a land, like tap something and it doesn't untap.
Well, so it doesn't tap it.
Oh yeah, it
is
untap.
the Ajani, right?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Right. But it's still you're right though. It's
It
still
doesn't
very
untap,
powerful. Like your land that can make a tempo play. That's kind of creepy, right? Like that's there's gonna be times where it does nothing, but when it is good, you're right. It'll probably be really good.
Yeah.
I think that might be limited. Might be limited to just limited.
Sure.
So it's probably limited.
Probably.
It does combo well with the limited equipment, the sledge, where you have to return a land to give a creature +2/+2. That's cute, right?
Just keep their one guy locked down the whole time.
Forever. Nice.
All right.
So then let's look at a man land now. Lumbering Falls. This is our blue-green man land enters the battlefield tapped. For a blue and a green and 2 colorless, it becomes a 3/3 elemental green and blue elemental creature with hexproof until the turn. It's still a land. So we see, I think both the man lands. We'll just talk about.
The other one is Shambling Vent.
Yeah.
Taps for white or black. You can pay 1 white black. Shambling Vent becomes a 2/3 white and black elemental with lifelink until end of turn.
Yeah, so I think these comparatively maybe to the other ones, I feel like they seem a little less powerful than the original Zendikar series of them. Maybe though, enemy colors should be less powerful in general. There's an argument for this.
I think they're less powerful than 4 of them. I think the black red one. I think they're better than the black red one.
It's possible. Someday the Lava Claw reaches, and then my 10 of them will be worth money. There were 74 cents. That was worth it. No, I think Lumbering Falls is interesting because there's definitely could be a Sultai deck that is fine having this as that sort of beatdown option. And Hexproof is definitely the an aggravating ability, but can really finish a game by itself. Shambling Vents is a little less exciting, but Lifelink is really good in a deck that needs that extra bit of life. And having 3 toughness is really relevant against the aggressive decks.
So I'll take the opposite.
Wow.
I think Shambling Vent's better because not really super
Now, see,
impressed.
I actually don't think I'm saying one is better than the other.
Okay.
But go ahead.
I'm not super impressed by 3/3 Hexproof, mainly because I don't think it can get through a clogged up ground, where Shambling Vent's purpose isn't so much to beat down, it's just to regain some of the life lost in a more mid-rangey or control deck, or even if you're drawing 3 and paying 3 life. This kind of helps you get that life
Sure. I think the way you play Lumbering Falls, though, you're probably making your opponents not have ways to get in it, right?
Sure.
This is the last thing you're attacking with, and your opponent's really frustrated because they're getting attacked for 3 every turn and they can't do anything about it. So, no, I think they're both fine. I'm excited to see them, and I'm definitely excited to see the rest of them. Give me that blue-red one. Oh my gosh. You know how hard they have to work on that one to make sure it doesn't just make Splitter Twin the most disgusting deck in Modern.
It's going to be 3 red, blue, make a 1/5. You have to discard a card to do nothing. Anything it does is going to be credible.
Right. All right. So we have the manlands. So we have 2 more then. We have Sanctum of Ugin first, which we talked about a little bit. Sanctum of Ugin, I think, is really interesting. It's a colorless land, or so it taps for a colorless, and it says, whenever you cast a colorless spell with converted mana cost 7 or greater, you may sacrifice Sanctum of Ugin. If you do, search your library for a colorless creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. I think this is interesting just because, your land, that late in the game, you're casting this giant threat, and this is going to ensure that even if that threat gets answered, you have a follow-up. It's awkward that you also have to sack the land when you're trying to ramp, but I do think, again, these lands that get you actual value it's worth at least considering.
They're great. They're spells that you put in your deck that don't take up a spell slot. It's good. It's a good card. It's not a 4 of, but it's fine.
Sure.
You're just playing as a 1 of in your Eldrazi deck. It's fine. Playing as a 1 of in your maybe not in the Tron deck. I don't know. You have to play a colorless spell with 7 or greater.
So you cast your Ugin so you can go search for a Hangerback Walker?
Yeah.
To defend Ugin?
Just for the sheer fact that Ugin Sanctum can't get Ugin, it feels weird, right?
Yeah, I don't know on that one.
Just like the Eye of Ugin can't...
this is some sweet Ugin art, though.
Yeah, sure, it's great. It's too bad he can't come to his own Sanctum.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. He's already there.
No, he's already there, and he goes finds a creature.
Why would he
finds a buddy? He's lonely.
Why would he find an Eldrazi, though?
He finds a Wormcoil engine.
Because he's hungry. I don't know. And the last one then?
Last one, Shrine of the Forsaken Gods. Tap to add 1 to your mana pool, or tap to add 2. Spend this mana only to cast colorless spells. Activate this ability only if you control 7 or more lands. Man, that really makes that one card that says only find an Eldrazi really stand out, because all these other ones say colorless spells. I don't know. That's still. Anyways, back to this card. So this is our Temple of the False God parallel, where Temple of the False God was a really good card. I don't know if this one's going to be so good. This one requires 7 or more lands, and you can only use it to cast colorless spells.
So I see people using this as a ramp. Honestly, it becomes a Temple of the False God a lot faster than you might think.
Okay.
And again, if you want to cast Ulamog, you're playing 4 of this land.
If you want to cast Oblivion Sower, I guess you already have 7, right?
Right.
Man, I don't know.
I tell you, like,
Does
this
only
is,
cast
I think-
Ulamog is what we're
Yeah, I think it's
doing
it.
with
If you are wanting to cast a Ulamog, you're playing mono green with like Nisa's Expeditions and stuff, and probably Sylvan Scrying to find this card.
How many of these are you playing?
I think you're playing 4. And I've seen as many of 3 of them play in the same time against me. So
I guess it does have the upside. It does tap for 1. Where Temple of False
Right,
God.
yeah, you
if
could tap it
If you had
all.
too many of them, there's certainly times where you'd have 2 of them in play and not enough.
neither of them
lands.
tap for mana. So no, I think this card like I don't think this is unlike like a lot of these other ones which are like one ofs. You're not playing just one of this.
Okay, sure.
So,
Cool.
we did it.
Yeah, that's our set review. Lands are probably the best because they have dual lands in them. Lands did great for this set. Oh man, woo! Jeez, Lands, you put in a lot of work. We're very impressed. Overall, opinions of this set.
A lot of people are really down on this set, and I'm not as excited as I was 2 weeks ago. I'll be very honest. It's also super hyped, so maybe I couldn't be. Like, I don't know, like, what I wanted. Like, did I want just Rise of the Eldrazi? Like, I don't think I actually wanted that. So,
Right.
I want to see how this plays. Yeah, the format's taking a power dip, and that's to be expected. I mean, I don't know if you paid attention, but Khan's block was really powerful.
Yeah, I don't know if this, like, Cons being a 3-color set, the cards just look more powerful.
The
They-
dragons, though, are powerful, too. Like,
Yeah.
dragons is so powerful.
Well, that's probably for a different reason. So the tricolor stuff looks more powerful because it's harder to cast than you realize. So
Until
read,
now.
You read it, yeah, until now. You read it and go, wow, this is really good. Oh, I can never cast it, type of thing. And then the dragons are good because they just wanted them to headline the set, so you had to make them really good. I think all the power here, I think it might just be harder to see. I like this set. There's actually more cards for this cube than there were for Origins, in my cube at least. So I'm happy with this set overall.
How do you feel?
It's whelming. It is what it is.
I like that.
It's not overwhelming or underwhelming, and there are some cards that stand out. It feels like such a weird set financially speaking, because I think people are going to still open a lot of it. So a lot of the things, like I think it might have a cons effect on like the rares and mythic rares. So things are like really expensive right now, and I don't feel like they were that way when cons came out. And I don't think like the prices can stay for basically anything, and it's super weird. I think like there's a lot of chase stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of
Wait, what, chase stuff? I don't understand. I didn't see anything here that was chase. Oh, you mean expeditions?
yeah, expeditions. And you know what? People will buy a lot of this set just for the sheer fact that it has full art lands. And that's what is going to open a lot of packs. A lot of people are just going to, like, think about all the fat packs people are going to buy because they come with a package of full art lands. And then those packs
I'm going to buy one.
yeah, those packs are just going to get opened. So, like, a lot of the cards in the set are going to depreciate a lot in value. And we're not MTG Finance guys, but I mean, like, we've already seen this happen in one set, and this set is setting up for it as well. But the difference is, like, you felt good opening packs of cons because it had like Mantis Riders and Siege Rhinos.
You felt good because it had fetch lands.
Yeah, and like the potentiality for fetch lands and stuff like that. This I don't expect to be very happy opening packs of.
No, you're right there, and even like were you that? I mean, are you looking back? Are you happy to have opened a Mantis Rider? The card's $1.
Yeah, but I mean, like it was at least
Siege Rhinos
playable.
$3.
Yeah, but those are playable cards at the very least.
And that's fair. We'll see though. I mean, again, it's really hard to evaluate this. I don't think any of the major abilities, major ideas in the set are as bad as like Devotion turned out to be. Where they were so afraid of it they couldn't do anything with it in the like Cons was like, no, none of this for you, right? And you saw how like the one good Devotion deck, like I still feel good about that. About how, when I called Nick so early on, like, man, this lets you do old school things, and then you looked at Devotion, for a couple of months there, just be disgusting and unfun to be around. So they were so afraid of the mechanic they couldn't do anything else with it. I don't see anything like that in this set. I feel like these cards might play better once they're in the format than we can give them credit for.
I
now.
can see that. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to put all the pieces together.
Right.
Yeah, the set gets more exciting if this Eldrazi deck works, if this ingest processor deck works and constructed. Right now, it's hard to see because it's unlike anything we've ever seen. Hey,
Right.
look at the Eldrazi.
Exactly. So
Spot on there, but
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Now that we've evaluated the set, let's pick up. Now that we've said that the set is hard to put together, let's pick the top 5 cards from it.
well, let's do Dave's first because he's not here, but he has sent in.
Okay.
We have a reader email.
We can patch in Dave via text communications and let you know what his. Could you say this in a really obnoxious Boston accent? No, don't do that. Don't do that.
You want me to go like full JFK on
No,
it? Just
please don't. We
Dave
don't.
Sleeper is bring to light.
No, we have a lot of listeners that might be upset.
Oh
so.
well, Dave Sleeper is bring to light.
Okay.
Which
That's a
I don't know if that's
sleeper?
a sleeper, man. I don't know that.
we'll let him get away with it.
I was given a Tarka once, so
Yeah, fair enough.
So he has number 5. He has Painful Truths.
Yep.
Number 4 he has Omnixilus Reignited. Number 3 has Woodland Wanderer. Number 2 he has McKindy Slide Runner. And number 1 Gideon Ally of Zendikar. So man, look at that Slide Runner, man. Like, he's high on that too, making up to number 2.
I guess I'll go next. Oh, I didn't pick a sleeper. Oh well, we'll figure it out. Number 5, I have Obnixilus. Number 4, I have Gideon. I think Gideon's pretty powerful. I don't think it's the best card in the set. I don't think it goes in a bunch of different decks. I think it goes in just maybe. I don't know. Gideon's really powerful, but I think I've been burned on the obvious cards a lot more. So I'm just going to put him at 4. Number 3, I have McKindy Slide Runner. I think it's the best common in the set. I think you're going to be playing against this card for years while it's in standard. Number 2, I have Shambling Vent. I know.
Wow.
I'm really high on this card. I think it's really good. It does a lot of good work for Abzan. Once Abzan starts taking control of the game, there's times where, yeah, sure, Siege Rhino gains you 3 life and gets you out of trouble, but there's times when you almost have the game taken over, but you can still die to. You can still die to a good top deck from your
fair
opponent,
enough,
where
fair
this gets you out of that. And number 1, I have the good old boring Ruinous Path. Probably my list is more geared towards how many of this card do I expect to be in top 8s over the next three months or so. Ruinous Path is just going to be
that's fair.
played. So
All right, I guess I'll go next, and Morgan can have the last gasp here.
Sweet. I get to see what all cards you picked and probably pick from the best of those lists.
All right, so
I need to pick my sleeper.
yeah, pick a sleeper.
Sleeper is going to be the white ally card.
Unified Front.
Thank you.
Okay. So my sleeper is Fathom Feeder. I feel like if that deck's a thing, that is the card. Like if the Ingester processor deck is a thing, that is the card that's going to make that engine go. So that's either like I don't feel like that's like you're like, oh, this is a one of value card that can. No. If you want to do this, you're playing 4 of them.
You want to do 4 of them? Yep.
So I have number 5. I also have Painful Truths at 5. I think that card is just very, very good. Number 4, I have Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger. I mean that all these ramp decks are going to that card. Like that's what they're going to be ramping into. So, I think Ulamog, even without like I had it cast against me, so I know it's good. But even without having to see that, like this card is powerful in a vacuum. If you get to do it before it's supposed to happen, historically, that's a pretty good combination. Number 3, I have Omnixilus Reignited. I'm getting higher and higher on that card, so I think it's very good. Number 2, I Bring to Light. So Dave has it as sleeper.
Nice sleeper, Dave.
I think this card, like even if the decks aren't great, I think this opens up a whole different stance of deck building that we haven't had for a little bit, at least in standard. Now, we've had creature toolkits, like you said, with Cord, but I think this leads to an interesting type of deck. So, and number 1, I have Gideon Ally of Zendikar. I think he does go into a lot of decks, so we'll see. But Ruinous Path could have been on the list. I think it's like if we're going that way though, then you could make the list that be like Ruinous Path and Scatter the Winds. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't begrudge you for doing it.
Valor's stance and those type of things, but I don't know. If we're talking about top 5 cards that impact standard, I think it's got to be.
Yeah, we would come to a list, but these are just cards that we like and
sure.
are playable.
My secondary sleeper is definitely Skyrunner Elf, though. I'm going to try and make that
Fair enough.
a thing. So.
I think some of us might help you on that journey.
Can we get like a playset of altars that has each of us playing it on top of the manta instead?
That'd be great.
It's like, I made a pose and I realized we were on a podcast, so
Yeah,
it was a cool pose.
It was very cool. Backed up. So I'll go next. I'll go with my top 5 and then my sleeper. So for 5, I have Painful Truths.
Ding.
I mean, it just feels like that's a good card. Drawing 3, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. Number 4, I have Bring to Light. I feel like there's going to be a lot of interesting things that card does, and I want to be a part of that. So next, I have Up Next List Reignited. One of I think like people had it flipped initially. I think that like Akira maybe was a little bit more hyped than Up Next List just because of like the mana cost, but that card. It does does good things. Murder is good in this format when you don't actually have it.
Murder.
After that, I have I'm gonna phone this one in and do Ruinous Path because we just said it was kind of meh, but
And because you're right.
yeah,
I get it.
No,
Yeah.
that's true. Don't get me wrong. You're right.
Yeah, and then last I have Gideon Ally of Zendikar. Like, I mean, maybe the card is not versatile, but I feel like the card is just so powerful.
I feel like me putting him at 4 was like a big slight to get in all of a sudden.
Once he's done and he's gotten a good night's rest, he's coming back.
He's coming back for me. Great. Once the Eldrazi are gone.
I mean, comparatively to the rest of the set, it just feels like that card is so straightforward in its power level when everything else is sort of everywhere. I mean, the only knock against it is that it costs white instead of just like mono white, which would have been way too good. And then as far as my sleeper, Mike kind of took it because I was going to say Fathom Theater, but I'm going to pick a different sleeper, and I'm going to go with Smothering Abomination. I'm probably wrong. I'll admit to that. I think that card has something to it, and people like drawing cards, even if they have to work for it. So maybe someone wants to work really hard at it, and I would appreciate that.
They work hard for the money.
But I like that card, even if I'm wrong. So, whatever. I mean, what does it even matter who sleeper gets picked? Dave got to pick Bring the Light, and that was on two of the 4 of the lists. So, what does it matter?
Such is life.
Yeah, we let him get away with robbery, guys. Anyway, so that was set review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, obviously, pre-release is coming up. We have Comic Town doing 6 pre-releases over, technically 3 days, but really it's 2 days. But midnight on Saturday is, pretty much Friday.
Right.
And you can check Comic Town Gaming Center on Facebook for all the times and the events. There's a Two-Headed Giant event on Saturday in the afternoon, if I'm not mistaken, and the rest are all single-player events, basically. So some of them have caps, too. So if you do want to attend them, be sure to get in contact with...
Yeah, you can. They're taking pre-registration all week. So
Correct. So
when you hear this on Thursday or Friday, you could have also registered on Monday. But
whatever.
Then. Sorry. Go send yourself back in time.
Yeah, and then do it then. It's easy. You have a time machine, right? Everyone has a time machine.
So make a plan so when you have a time machine, you'll do this. That way, your future self who has a time machine knows to go back and do it.
Yeah. I mean, this seems like we're
This
making
is Science
it more
Fiction
complicated.
101.
Yeah, come on. Also, the nice thing about this is that you don't have to worry about pre-registering for a color. That's just the best. You're just I want to just give me some packs.
I'm excited for going back to that.
Yeah,
So.
it's sweet. I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna be super lost because I won't have a path probably, but whatever. I don't care. I get to open packs and then a new set. It's exciting.
I might go to a pre-release.
Whoa.
It's been a while.
You should.
But it's just because I just didn't like the on rails experience.
Yeah.
I like Sealed.
Yeah,
Sealed's fun.
I will only be able to attend Sunday ones because my sister's getting married on Saturday. And
What a selfish jerk.
yeah, I know, right? How dare she?
I mean, she couldn't have gone next week because that's also SCG Indie. So, could you have gotten married next year?
Yeah, I mean, what's the
Or
big
in the
deal?
middle of the week.
Well, hopefully we'll see you, some of you local guys there at the pre-release events, and we'll have a good time. If you want, you can follow us on Twitter. We are at YourEndStep, so at symbol YourEndStep. We're also on Facebook. Just search for at YourEndStep. Like us on there. We post some cool stuff when Dave wins with a sweet, a GPT with a sweet blue-red humans list, which is crazy. So yeah, definitely check that out. Also, subscribe to us on iTunes. We're there, and that's where you get the show quite frequently and most easily. We also have a website that it goes onto at yourendstep.com. And then you can also download us through MTGcast. So that is a great way to get us and a lot of other awesome podcasts that all are about Magic the Gathering, and there's everything that you could possibly want there. So if you're casual to highly competitive, there's a show that you'll want to listen to. But that's pretty much everything for this week. Good luck on all your pre-releases, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.